work with boards, it's really clear that an effective chair is a key ingredient to an effective board. And of course, there's many roles that a chair has to undertake, but one of the most important is chairing board meetings. So I thought I'd share with you some of the things I've heard from chairs about what they think makes them effective, as well as my own personal experience in being chair of board meetings. It's often said that chairs are conductor of an orchestra, and I think that's a pretty apt description. So how do you do that? How do you conduct effectively? Well, I think there's a few key things to think about. And the first one starts with preparation. As a chair, it's really important to do a run through of the agenda, the key papers. If there's speakers coming in, being really clear how long the speakers are going to talk for and what it is that the board's going to glean from their presentation. Next, at the outset of a meeting, as part of the sort of upfront administrative matters, I think it's useful as a chair to set out what the priorities of the discussion should be in the meeting. What are the matters that the board must decide or that the board should deal with as part of the meeting? And that feeds into the next part around time allocation. One of my pet hates is the saying, a meeting's gone over time. Because actually a meeting should take as long as it takes to make an effective decision, within obviously certain boundaries. But as a chair, you should have an indicative timeline, just helping guide the meeting discussion and the focus areas so that you can ensure that the board's going to get through all of its agenda. When it comes to the meeting itself, I see chairs take different approaches. So some chairs will lead with their view and then let other directors either agree or counter that view. Other chairs don't offer their view first. They let the directors speak first. And there's some value in that. And particularly as a chair, you might defer first to a director who's a quieter director and let them have a position. Some chairs will actually go around the table and ask each director to express a view before the chair expresses their view. Irrespective though of what the issue is, it's really important that as a chair you reach a position and make sure that the company secretary is able to document that and the actions or any other actions that need to be taken. It's also important as a chair that you make sure that you maintain control and order. There shouldn't be personal attacks, obviously. People should be playing the issue, not the person. And as chair, you need to make sure that that's the boundaries within which directors are operating, particularly when you're on those more heated or controversial matters. As a chair, you're also responsible for making sure that the meeting has got sufficient breaks, that people are rested, that they're not distracted by their mobile phone. Having a rule that phones have to be off, but there'll be regular breaks for people to check messages can be a really useful one. And that might differ depending on obviously whether you're meeting in a virtual or a face-to-face format as to how many breaks you need. And whilst the chair's not meant to be a comedian, having some lighter moments in board meetings can always be useful as well. Finally, I think it's really important as chair to reflect on a meeting. And that might be done formally by way of an end of meeting evaluation, and I've done a separate Board Whisperer video on end of meeting evaluations. But irrespective of whether you have that in the agenda, I think as chair it's always useful to reflect on, how did I go in chairing that meeting? Is there anything I'd do differently? And maybe if you've got a deputy chair or maybe the chair of an audit committee, for example, might be someone that you can just touch base with after a meeting and just ask them if they've got any feedback on how you went in chairing that meeting.